Jeremy, thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for being in the Make Shit Happen studios today. Thank you so much for making the drive, taking the time out of your day to be with us. Thank you so much. So before the interview, we were talking about it, and I'm like, who is Jeremy? Who's Jeremy Brown?
Who is he? You tell me. I don't even know.
I know the name is right there.
I saw that
on the board.
Yep.
But who is Jeremy Brown? And you said some stuff. So go ahead.
Yeah, that's
share it with our audience.
That's a complex question. I guess it depends on who you ask, right?
Yeah.
My mom probably has certain names for me. My wife has some certain names for me. You know, my kids think of me as one way. But you know, at the end of the day, I like to think of myself as an adventure of life. You know, and I like to just make sure that whatever I'm doing in life is an adventure and that I'm exploring some way. Sometimes it's within myself. Sometimes it's with other people. And so, you know, that has led me down different paths in life into different places. And currently who I am is I'm a professional endurance coach. So I coach anybody who wants to figure out how to move their body more efficiently through space, whether it's through running, triathlons, cycling, hiking, weight loss, whatever they need to do. And so that's been my passion and my really close to my heart for the past about 9 years since I've had that business. And in the past couple of years, I realized that I'm not quite in the space to impact the most lives possible. Right. And so I'll tell you just right off the top, one of my theories in life is when I die, I'm going to be judged by how many people show up at my funeral to drink my food. I mean, to eat my food and drink my beer. Right. And that's ultimately meaning that's the lives that I touched positively. And that's ultimately my focus. And that's where my newest passion comes in, which is mental mastery. And that's where I'm able to create a message or share a message that I've learned through life or that I've researched or something like that can impact people that are important to me, like my mom, my kids, things that make them wake up and feel good about themselves or have that drive and that passion. Mm-hmm. And ultimately what that's done is it's opened a lot of doors to really, truly see people understand more about themselves and to apply the pieces in place to move forward. So in a nutshell, that's kind of who I am.
Okay. So you want to also impact the regular, everyday Joe person, not just high endurance athletes or people who are looking for weight loss and stuff. Just want to talk to everybody.
Absolutely.
Mental mastery.
Mental mastery.
Define mental mastery to me.
Well, it's completely unattainable.
Okay.
You know, mastery is something that the theory is it takes 10,000 hours to master it, but I think it's something we should always try to attain. And so all that means for me is just to understand that you actually have more power within you to make the changes you need to make mentally. Mm-hmm. It could be self-confidence. It could be, you know, having more drive to do things. It could be any of those things. So what happens is when we start to kind of get that good snowball rolling, it rolls and rolls and rolls. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that we don't understand that we actually contain that power, right? People will go to the internet specifically and look for people like you and I or David Goggins or Joe Rogan or all these people and listen to what they have to say and go, yeah, that's me. I can do that. And that flame burns out pretty quickly oftentimes. Mm-hmm. I even go look for motivational stuff from time to time to get me fired up and going. And I know that fire doesn't burn that hot. What I want to do with mental mastery is I want to create the opportunity just to kind of put the charcoal, if you will, into their lives to where they can light it and it can burn for a long time. And I think that only happens through self-exploration, right? You can sit here and tell me how to create a furniture business, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I then have to go apply that, put in the hustle, put in the grind, put in the work. But if you were to say, hey, here's something to think about, and then that path of exploration leads me to starting a furniture business, I'm going to be more empowered to making that business happen. Right. Because I sought it out. I went after it. And so for me, that's exactly where I come from with this mental mastery is I want to make sure that I'm creating more questions than I'm providing answers.
Gotcha.
Because if you go and seek that answer out, that changes you. If I tell you the answer, it's not necessarily always going to change you. It may empower you for a little while.
Well, you're correct because, you know, Zig Ziglar says people often say motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. And, you know, when Zig Ziglar said, that's exactly what you said.
That's a smart fellow.
Yeah,
and I've never heard that quote before. That's a smart fellow, though.
Yeah. And, you know, he basically, and that's exactly what you said. People go motivation on, you know, on internet, podcast, but it doesn't last long.
Yeah.
So you need it every day. You need it daily, some kind of dose. So, yes, mental mastery might help that. Now, mental mastery, if I'm reading between the lines, is it mindset?
It is mindset. Yeah,
okay.
It is absolutely mindset. And that mindset is kind of the make or break piece to it, right? Because, and I'm going to go ahead and give you props while we're on here. We were supposed to do this chat yesterday and you called me up and said, man, listen, I'm just not right in the right place today.
Yeah.
And I told you before we went live, I greatly appreciate that. And my respect level's up 100-fold because we're not every single day on our game. Look at professional sports. How many times you see a professional athlete and you go, what was that all about? Where he wasn't even there tonight.
He wasn't even there.
And then you never know why, right? And so oftentimes it's very hard for us to get into that place if we're not there.
Yeah.
And so mindset's absolutely crucial if you want to grow and to develop into that and move towards mental mastery.
And I pride myself to be there every day, and show up every day 100%. But I just knew that yesterday wasn't the day because I had so much going on, and it was just a lot of how do I say it? A lot of background noise. And I didn't want it to make sure that when I do a podcast episode, I want to bring
it's fire.
top notch thing for my listeners because they tuning in there. They're depending on me that day.
Yeah.
So so mindset, it is important. So why in your view, why do you think mindset is so important?
I think that mindset is what makes us go and explore and become and do, right? So mindset can be the way that you and I are talking right now. Mm-hmm. I'm in a good mindset. You're in a good mindset. This is going to be a fire podcast. I know it, right? It can be the way you speak to your children. Mm-hmm. You can speak to your children and say the same thing in two different tones. Anybody that's listening to this as a parent knows one parent can say one thing, the other parent can say the exact same thing in a different tone. The kid goes, oh, okay, yeah, I got it now, right? So mindset is what we can actually deliver to people, right? If I come at you with a good mindset, like the conversation I had with him just before this, if I come at you with a good mindset and from a good place, you're then going to get that energy. And your mindset can then go, oh, okay, you feel a little more open. You feel a little more prepared and ready. So to me, mindset is something that, we talk about. And if people in the yoga world, things like that, talk about, find your medium or your Zen or whatever it is. And mindset is something that can't be forced. It has to be something that you find. Because just like you said, there are days where I'll wake up and I'm just like, man, okay, I got to do it. I got to get it. I'll look for the motivational stuff. I'll try to find things to trigger me. I'll write. I'll do whatever I can to kind of jumpstart that engine. And some days it just doesn't happen. And for me, that's super frustrating because, like you, I expect to be on. Like, I expect every single day I am at the plate taking the swings. Yeah. It's just not possible. That's not real life. Let's be honest here.
You can't, you can't waste no days. I feel like that. I feel like it's how do I say, it's a race against time for me. TikTok every day. So I know you also, besides this mental mastery thing that you're doing in your business about the, getting, fit and people who are doing the Ironman and all that other stuff. You also have a podcast, right?
I do, correct.
What is it called?
So I have the Mental Mastery podcast.
Okay.
And I've been doing that for a couple of years now. And it's more of it started off as just tidbits into podcast form where it would come to your inbox and you could open it up on a Monday and we talk about a topic like, say, focus. And I would just kind of riff for 90 seconds to 2 minutes on it. You listen to it. I want to create the question, like I said, and then you go through your week kind of just seeking that opportunity. When the opportunities come around, you just go, oh, God, I could be more focused, right? I could be more dialed in with my family or whatever. And so that podcast has been one it's gone from that short form into a little bit longer form. I got requests to do like extended. Well, people are like, okay, well, that 2 minutes was awesome, but I need more.
Gotcha.
So I do a little longer form, and then I do my coffee chats every Monday that we do, and it's a little bit longer form as well.
So what do you mean the mental mastery? It goes in your inbox. You have a list of that you send it to email to people.
Yep, I have a subscriber list, and every single Monday you'll get that week's topic in.
Okay.
And there's probably close to 70 topics right now.
Okay. And but is it on, like, can people find it on Apple Podcast or Google Podcast?
You can. Anywhere you listen to podcast, you can go to getmymindright.com. And you can
what is it? Say it again.
Getmymindright.com.
Okay.
And that's where you can sign up on the list, or you can see all of them that I've produced.
And that's what it's called, Get My Mind Right.
Getmymindright.com. Yep.
And that's the name of the podcast, Get My Mind Right.
The podcast is Mental Mastery.
Oh, podcast is called Mental Mastery, but you can go on the website, getmymindright.com, and be a subscriber.
Because you know as well as I know, you can't always find the domain names you're looking for.
Yeah, gotcha. And so you talk about focus. Can you tell us like one little thing? What do you like? Give us a topic that focus, something you said like an episode.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, so focus is actually a pretty easy one because it's something that you were talking about, just yesterday. You recognized that you didn't have the focus you needed on the day. Uh-huh. Many times people don't recognize that. People just go about their day and it just becomes a crappy day and they don't know why, right? So guys like us, we go through the day and we're like, man, why am I feeling this way about this situation? Or why am I feeling so? Why am I not how I expect myself to be? And so for those that aren't listening, I have my cell phone in my hand right now. So if I'm on this and I'm on Instagram right now and I'm talking to you, who's got my focus?
Instagram.
That's right, not you. And so we have these phones and we have access to everything at the drop of a hat, everything. And everything moves just so crazy fast in our lives. Whether you're, a busy entrepreneur like yourself or a stay-at-home mom or a guy that's an engineer at one of the chemical factories, like life just moves. And so what happens is we become like mentally exhausted. At the end of the day, you go home and it's just like lights out because you got all the stimulation. We don't ever really shut down. And so focus is super, super important. Like sitting at the dinner table is something that my family takes very seriously. When you're at the dinner table, there's no phones. We do this thing at the start of dinner every night when we're sitting there, and it rotates around kind of the family, and it's best part of your day. And somebody has to be called out, best part of your day, go. And that person will say, hey, this is the best part of my day. And you're allowed to have a worst part of the day because we recognize that it's not just all rainbows and sunshines, but at the end of the day, they're going to come back and they're going to have to recognize what was good about their day. The reason I say that's our focus. Our focus is on the family and making sure that we all at this dinner table appreciate what the good part of the day was. So our focus is super, super important because of all the noise in life.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you do it. How many kids do you have?
5.
5?
I have 2 stepkids and 3, I guess, real kids. I don't know if that's what you say. I don't know what they are.
3 biological kids.
There we go. There we go.
So 5 basically. You have a good extended family. 5.
Absolutely.
All 5 stay with you?
No, I have my 3 come and visit.
Okay.
And they live with their mom, and then the two stepsons live with us.
Okay, well, awesome. And then how long you been married, or should I say remarried?
Yes, remarried. Anywhere from 6 to 8 years. We're not exactly for sure. I still it could be less than a year. I don't think she's fully accepted that we're married quite yet.
She hasn't fully accepted yet.
She's got one foot out the door. So.
Oh, I hope not. So tell me, you told me in your bio that that the power of the mind is not often addressed.
Absolutely.
And why you think that?
I think people are scared. I really do. And what I mean by that is I think people are scared to win. People are scared to lose. People are scared to try. People are scared to do this thing called fail. And so I think that if we just don't look at it, it doesn't exist. Right? Let me I'll tell you a very quick story about my oldest daughter. She'll be 16 this year. When she was a kid, she was scared of, like every kid, this monster in her closet. Like whatever it was in her brain, there was something in her closet that was just going to eat her, right? And so I tried forever. I could not figure out how to get across to her. One thing I think is my gift to the world is my ability to communicate effectively with different listening styles, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm just racking my brain like you were, just like, why can't I be on? Why can't I have this answer for her? And, as a parent, you want your children, you want to be able to speak their language. And so I told her, I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I said, I want you to look at that monster in the closet anytime you think you see him, and I want you to point at him, and I want you to tell him, hey, I see you there. You can stay there, but you're not going to control me, right? It was almost within a night or two that completely changed her outlook of going to bed and lights being off and things like that. Reason being because I taught her to accept the fear, to not fight the fear. Okay. And so what happens is she now takes control of that situation. That monster's not running her night and running in her brain. What's happening is she says, I see you, you can stay there, but you're not going to bother me. So when it comes to mindset and to, it's not often addressed because there's a lot of fear based with that. People are afraid. People are afraid to win. They don't realize that, right? People are afraid to lose. That's an obvious one. Afraid to fail, afraid of all this stuff. They lack the control in their life of certain things and releasing control of other things that they can't control. So that's why I think that mindset is not often talked about and addressed and discussed openly between humans, between people. We don't openly, just the sheer fact of your vulnerability yesterday saying, hey man, I can't do it today. Is that cool? That for me, your mindset, that tells me you got it clicked on. You get it and you're okay with it. You accept it. It's not going to own you.
Thank you. So mindset, you said people don't want to address it, but think about that. And yesterday I did this video and I talked about it. Well, about that I'm jealous of women. And I'm not jealous. Let me not say jealous, but I envy women because women can go out and have a girls' night out and talk about their weaknesses, their weight, something that bad happened. But men don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Men cannot talk to other men about what happened to them, or what kind of. That's why and we do that from us growing up.
Yeah.
That's why when all these Catholic priests abuse the kids, all the Boy Scouts, coaches had abused these kids. These boys never talk to
Don't
anybody.
talk about it. Yeah.
Don't talk about it. They hide it.
Be a man. Man up. Right?
That's it.
Be
Man up.
tough.
Right.
Yep.
And that's, I think that's part of mindset. How
Sure.
is it a good mindset? I don't know. I don't know, Jeremy.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, as men, we are groomed from the beginning that we cannot talk about
Yeah. Absolutely.
bad shit that happened to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that what happens is on that same vein. I've had this conversation with a good friend of mine, and he believes that the age group of 30-year-old to 50-year-old males is the most underserved mental health group in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And right or wrong, I don't know, it's his opinion, but at the end of the day, I think it's because humans in general don't like to be vulnerable. Something that I learned. My father passed away about a year and a half ago. And what I learned from that was a lot. I mean, it was a great lesson in unspoken words, right? Things that he never told me. But I was having a conversation with my aunt, and she said, "Yeah, your dad was tough, and your dad never wanted to show you his belly. What that meant was he never wanted to show you the soft spot, right? Ever." And I think that's a very common thing. And for me, I use a lot of visuals and imagery and when I speak and different things like that. But to me, I immediately thought of like a turtle. You'll never see a turtle expose its underside because that's the most vulnerable spot. And I think that a lot of people need to understand that that's actually what needs to be shown. However, here's the catch with that. I did a piece on vulnerability as one of the cornerstones of Mental Mastery, the Connecting the Dots series. And what I talked about in it is that if we have the responsibility to ourselves to place the right people around us in life to allow us to be vulnerable. What happens, though, men or women, is that we get into a situation and we allow people close to us that don't belong there and haven't earned that right, and they burn us.
Yeah.
And we get hurt.
Yeah.
And what happens when you get hurt? You harden up and you draw back in your shell.
You're back in your shell.
Yeah, I'm like, screw all you all. I'm not doing that again. I'm not going through that. Yeah. But if we're smart and strategic and we put the right people around us, spouses, friends, things like that, then what happens is we have the environment to flourish. We have the environment to be vulnerable, which will open you up for growth. It's when we make those poor decisions of who should be around us that it gets us.
I can almost guarantee you, if we are in a room with 50 men and 50 women, and we ask 50 men, how many of y'all talk to your friends, your guy friends, male friends, about something bad or about a problems that you have? I bet you out of 50, maybe one or two get up.
Yeah.
And I bet you if you talk about women, I bet your hands
up.
are going up. Maybe one or two will not raise their hand.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? And I don't know if you want to call it because of the masculinity.
Right.
We are putting a mask on or doing something. But that's a mindset,
Sure.
because we don't want to be vulnerable.
For sure.
And men don't want to do that.
My wife says occasionally, I have a lot of men in my life that I hug them and tell them I love them often, and my wife goes, that's awesome. Like people just don't have that in their lives. I don't know if it's just not the right people or they're not willing to do that, but there are guys that I legitimately love as brothers. And part of that maybe come from my military background of you're always taking care of the person next to you, whether you like them or not, you're there to take care of them. And so you kind of learn that through that, all while having this level of masculinity, right? Because you got to be tough, if you will. Yeah. And so I just remember you said that, and it triggered me. My wife tells me, that you have a lot of guys that are cuddly, that are huggy guys, that are just the guys that they genuinely care about another human being.
And one thing that's bad come out of COVID. I mean, we became. I saw this a comedy show. I don't know. It was a comedian. I can't remember who, and he said, how the hell did we become a nation of huggers?
Yeah.
and I mean, we were hugging each other and talking to each other and everything, right? COVID has brought that to us that we are not hugging anymore.
Yeah, I hate that, man.
I hate that shit, right?
I was saying something to somebody that I was like, man, I'd give anything to just go hug somebody right now.
Right. And I mean, I'm hoping that we'll get back to to hugging soon. Now that we got a couple of vaccines over
Yeah.
here, and hopefully things will go back to normal soon, and this pandemic will be over. But men needs that. We need that.
Yeah.
We need somebody to be there. We need, but at the same time, we need, and I mean, and I don't know how it's gonna happen. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a mental health coach. But that needs to be done where we can take off that guard
Yep.
and and not think about what are they gonna think about me.
Right.
What are they gonna say about me?
Right.
Because sometimes that thing inside of you eats you up.
Oh, sometimes.
Every time.
Man. Woo.
Eats you up. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we talked about that. Now, why is, you said, power of the mind is not addressed. But what about mental health? We live in this country right now where mental health is a big issue.
I said that early on with COVID. As soon as I started to kind of feel the weight myself,
Yeah.
and the I'm a people person. Man, put me around people. I just want to be around people. I'm not a sit by myself and think about life kind of guy. But I realized when that started happening, I said, man, there's gonna be a mental health fallout from this. And I think so. I always try to find the good. I like to say I'm 90% optimist, 10% realist. But I think that what comes from this is maybe, hopefully, we have a deeper understanding of who we are, and more importantly, what matters to us. Because you remember that phrase that was thrown around a lot back in March and April, and that's essential. Right? If you think back, and we're getting away from that essential necessity in our life right now, but if you think back to that, think about the things or the people you had or were allowed to have in your life at that point in time. That should be the core foundation of your group you build around as we kind of open up a bit more. And so for me, my hope is that there are people that during that point in time realized, man, I really hate my job. Why am I doing this? Or, man, my wife really, we're just not connected, because we're with each other all the time, or I really miss these people, or my girlfriend, or whatever it is. And so my hope is that, yes, my hope is not that we'll have a mental health fallout. There will be. I have no doubt about that. But it's that we now are better positioned with the people in our lives to help us work through that, and that we have the power of vulnerability to allow that to happen as it goes along.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Also, people who get sick through COVID, and I have some people that I know got sick, and I'm like, hey, listen, don't let your mind conquer you.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you let your mind conquer you, you're gonna feel like you're sicker than you actually are.
100%.
And that happens all the time, right? I mean, I'm not talking about COVID, but let's say pre-COVID.
I got a tickle in my throat. I think I'm getting sick.
I think I'm getting sick. You get a coffee like, I think I might have COVID.
I think it's COVID.
and
my ear's itching. I got COVID.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm one to blame too. I had we were disinfecting one day, and I think it just got to my head. All of a sudden, I had this massive headache.
I got it.
And I said, I think I got COVID.
It's happening.
And I'm probably one to blame. I've tested like 5 or 6 times already, right? And knock on wood,
Yep.
I haven't been infected yet. But I mean, it's the mind.
Yeah.
The mind plays tricks on you. All of a sudden, people who think it's an upper respiratory infection. All of a sudden, I don't think I can breathe. I don't think I can breathe.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's the mind. Earlier you were saying the mind makes you do crazy things.
Yeah.
If you're running, right? I told one of my friends, he tells me like, Sam, how do you run that much? I said, man, you just got to keep running.
Yeah.
Right. You got to keep running. And he said, I can never run 3 miles. I'm like, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yep.
Just don't stop. Slow down.
Yep.
But don't stop. Because the mind is going to tell you, you're tired.
This ain't happening.
This ain't happening.
Yep.
And the mind, when you let your mind conquer you, all of a sudden your legs start hurting. You can't breathe anymore.
You think about the email you have to send, your mind just goes elsewhere.
Just don't do it. And you know what? He's like, I don't know if I can do it. I'm like, listen, just tell yourself, I'm gonna finish it.
Yep.
I'm gonna get to the 3 miles. I'm gonna go around that memorial track, and it doesn't matter. Pain is just the weakness coming out of your body.
Yep.
He calls me. I talked to him one Saturday. The next Saturday, he calls me like, Sam, I just did my 3.2
I knew it was
miles.
coming. That's awesome.
Okay. And I said, well, great. He said, it was slow. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long did it take you. It matters that you got it done.
You got it done. And now it's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible. So your brain goes, well, if I can do that, then what else? Your brain starts kind of processing. Once you kind of get those good vibes going, your brain goes, okay, well, we did that. No, well, what's next?
Yeah.
Is it 3 miles again? Is it applying for a job? Is it going to buy a new car? Is it talking to that girl? Like what then does it go into?
Right.
That's the power of it. And, you were talking a second ago about, you're telling yourself, oh, I feel this way. I feel this way. And the exact opposite is true for the other direction too. You tell yourself you're going to be successful, right? There is actual researched and reported data about the power of visualization, seeing yourself where you want to be, right? I did a little Instagram thing before I came here. Basically, I thought to myself that, I don't always expose my underbelly all the time to the mental mastery followers. And so I thought, you know what is it that I'm telling people, be empowered, be motivated, all this stuff. I'm like, well, I'm going here to chat with this guy that I respect a lot. How am I preparing for that, right? How am I preparing for this opportunity to sit down and talk to another great human being? And I realized that there are what I call power tools, right? I guarantee so you've got an important meeting tomorrow. Okay. What is the one piece of something that you place on your body or have near you that brings you power? Mm-hmm. Is it a watch? Is it a pair of socks? Is it lucky shoes? Everybody has that, right? And so I thought about it, and I've got this Hamilton watch that was a gift to me, and I've got a belt buckle on right now from a Bandera 100K that I ran last year. Uh-huh. Those are my power tools. And so the exact opposite is true. When I place those things on me, it's almost like Superman putting on his outfit. Mm-hmm. I get that empowerment from those things because those things hold great value to me. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I place those on, those remind me this can be done, right? As opposed to, I guess it goes in line with, I think I'm feeling this way. I see myself chatting with you. I see myself on stage in front of 1,000 people. I see myself presenting to this large company. I see myself doing these things, and then you slowly get there, right? You plant that seed, and you just water it and nurture it just a little bit here or there. So yeah, what's your power tool?
And I was thinking that when you were saying that, probably would be my watch, because I don't leave anywhere from, I don't leave home without a watch.
Yeah.
Might be it.
Yeah, I just was thinking that earlier. I was like, man, what is it that you can, there's something you can, if you go to a job interview, you are dressed to the nines, right? You're going to a gala, you're dressed. And when you get there, you feel powerful.
And I was thinking that exact same thing. I'm like, is that my power tool? Or like when I dress up, I feel good about myself.
Dude, get on my level, right?
Like, I mean, I do.
What are we doing?
I do, man. I mean, I feel like $1 million. Yeah. I mean, when you dress, that's why they said dress for success,
dress the
right?
part. Yeah,
dress the part.
Yep.
And I feel, I mean, honestly, like matter of fact, what day was it? Monday. I think I came over here to work wearing a suit, and I never wear a suit to work. And I was like, I came wearing a suit, and I'm like, I think I felt great that day. I mean, But I mean, I just do that once in a while. I mean, it's just, but like if I'm going out, like, like you say, to a party, to a gala, whatever it is, you got to, that's, and you feel like I'm Superman. I mean, I'm Batman, something like that. It's just like you're putting your costume on, right?
I'm interested I want people to throw some stuff your way on your Facebook page. I want to see what people's power tools are.
Oh, I love that. As a matter of fact, you know what? I think I'm going to post that.
I'd love that.
What is your power tool?
I would love to see that. And I just think that if we understand what tools we have, then we can use them. And that's the problem with all this mindset stuff, is people don't understand what tools they actually have. They only know what they don't have. Yeah. They only know what they can't do. Yeah. But they never or rarely sit down and go, okay, let's take an inventory of what we actually have available. And if you don't have it available, right? If you're remodeling your house and you know that you're going to need a bigger hammer because bigger hammers always solve bigger problems, right? You're going to go to Home Depot or wherever, and you're going to get a bigger hammer, okay? You're going to apply that. You're going to add that to your toolbox physically. Same thing with a mind game. But we don't often seek out the tools that we don't have because they're hard to get, or we don't know where to get them, right? That's when we go and we listen to you for motivation, looking for a tool. Someone's going to hear this chat, and they're going to come away, one person will come away with a new tool for themselves. That's the reason I'm sitting right here, right now.
I love that. You've run Ironman. You've done the Ironman 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
A lot of people don't know what an Ironman is. You want to tell us what is an Ironman?
Stupid idea. It is an epic experience, though. So an Ironman, by definition, is a 2.4 mile swim.
Okay.
Which is about 4,200 yards or meters for those that are
2.4 miles, and you're swimming an ocean or in the pool?
Ocean, rivers. It's open water.
Okay.
Typical
Open
for
water.
Ironman, it's an open water swim. And then it is a 112-mile bike ride. And then it is which from here is actually, for those in Houston, is like riding from here at Exclusive Furniture's headquarters to Surfside and back, kind of down the 288
Surfside,
route.
Galveston County.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
And then it's a marathon, 26.2 miles after that. So it's back to back to back. Yep.
Okay. And is it happening all at once?
All at once.
All at once.
You
So
start and
you're swimming.
You're done when you're done running.
So basically you swim.
Yep.
You take the 112-mile bike ride, and then you run.
That's it.
So, and altogether, what is it, about 10, 12 hours?
On the professional side, they'll do it 7:30 to 8 hours.
Okay.
And the cutoff for it is 17 hours, so 16:59.
Wow.
You have to be off the course.
Wow. So I mean, there's people who do it in seven and a half hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The pros will do it in 7.5 to 8 hours.
Wow. Okay. So what kind of training you need to do
All of it.
an Ironman?
I saw your video the day where you're out on that beautiful balcony working those ropes. That's some good training for that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it's a lot of long aerobic work, meaning low end heart rate. It's not a lot of intensity. You do things like box jumps and things like that to strengthen, but it is you're looking at anywhere from 8 to 20, 25 hours on the professional side to train per week. So for some people, it becomes almost like a job. Like you're on the weekends, you're going to go for on a typical Saturday for an endurance athlete, for doing it, training for an Ironman, is typically anywhere from 2 to 6 hours of riding their bike, and then typically a little run after that. And so they're swimming 3 days a week. They're running 3 to 6 days a week. They're riding 2 to 5 days a week. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. A lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So, and you're swimming in the pool, or you're really going swimming in the ocean?
Both. You do a lot of your swimming in the pool because access to open water isn't that readily available. But we've got some great opportunities here, kind of in South Houston, and people all over the world do this. And so there's rivers and lakes and other places that they can swim in.
So, but that is kind of crazy.
It's stupid, right? I told you that. I prefaced it with that.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you're doing. I mean, you got to have great deal of stamina.
Yeah.
To go for 10, like an average person will do it in 10 to 13 hours.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're the activity level for 10 to 13 hours straight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's intense.
It is. And the thing is that the people are going to listen to this that have, that might be into running a little bit or trying to get in shape. They're going to hear that, especially with New Year's coming up, right? They're going to try to get in shape, and they're going to think that it's so unfathomable, and they're going to go, why in the hell would somebody do that? That's impossible, Well, it's not. And that's Ironman's actually, the Ironman is actually a brand. It's a company. But the Iron Distance is what I just told you about. But
yeah.
Their slogan is anything is possible.
Right.
I started by running a mile after I got out of the military, and I was substantially slower than what I was when I was in the military. And for me, that was the journey. That was the start of my journey to where I'm at now. And, at the end of the day, I started off running a mile at just under an 11-minute pace.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, that sucks. Well, I'm going to do a 5K, right? Because that's kind of the benchmark. Let's start there. And I did a couple of them, and I got bored with it. And I was like, okay, well, that's fun. But what now? What is triathlon? I had no idea. 9 years ago, I had no idea what a triathlon was. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I'm definitely a what's next kind of guy, right? You check the box. Okay, what's next? I don't sit on success very long. When I get to the top of that mountain, I'm looking around to see who's on what mountain peak around me that I can go, I'm going up there.
Gotcha.
But it can all get started with just one step.
So, Jeremy, tell me about your military background.
Yep. So 3 years, U.S. Army, Airborne Infantry. That's pretty much it. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we appreciate your services.
It was a lot of fun. I never deployed. I was stationed at Fort Hood with a mechanized unit. I got out a little bit before the deployments all kind of fired up. But, I joined at 17. I got kicked out of high school, 9th grade, and never been to college, none of that fun stuff. So I didn't get to enjoy those experiences. And my 18th birthday, I actually got my head put in a toilet where some grown men had taken a dump and flushed for my 18th birthday in basic training. So welcome to adulthood. Here's a turd.
Wow, that's crazy. So tell me what. So then you joined the Army after that?
I joined at 17. Yep.
You joined at 17.
Yep. I got kicked out of 9th grade. My parents put me in this little Christian homeschool, and I kind of blew through that as best I could. And parents signed for me. My mom signed for me to join the Army.
Why did you get kicked out of school, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, drinking alcohol on the school bus.
Okay. Okay, that would do that.
There's that, right?
So you were a great kid. You were.
Yeah, I was a good kid. I think I was a good kid. I was a smart kid. I never applied myself as this is going off what my mom told me.
You just wanted to drink some alcohol.
Yeah, I took
Who
it out
brought
of my,
the who brought the booze?
I did.
Oh,
I took
you
it out of
did.
my parents' wine box. I think my mom may still have that box for that the wine came out. It was box wine. It wasn't even good wine, right?
Oh, it wasn't even a good one.
and so, it's funny because not long ago when all this COVID stuff happened, I started kind of going through. My mom is notorious for keeping everything. Spelling tests from 3rd grade. I'm like, Mom, like, do we need to keep that? And so in there was my disciplinary action report from my freshman year of high school. I got kicked out in about March. And I took a picture of it one day because to me, that's my reminder of it doesn't matter what you've done. Whether it's success or failure, it doesn't matter what you've done. Tomorrow is a new day to create, right? And so if you looked at that, that's the path of someone who's going to end up probably in jail or into bad stuff.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, I had the ambition at the age 11, 12 to join the Army, and that's the direction I went, full force. That shaped who I am now, or helped to shape it. And so that I keep that near my desk because that disciplinary action report is a reminder of yesterday doesn't matter. If you won yesterday, cool. Celebrate yesterday. What's today?
What's today?
And I had a conversation earlier with him, and it was today you're either better or worse than you were yesterday. You're never the same, never neutral. Tomorrow you're gonna be better or worse. The next day you're gonna be better or worse than that day. Right? So you're never the same day after day. And that's what that paper reminds me is it doesn't matter your mistakes. It doesn't matter your faults. It doesn't matter your failures. It doesn't matter your wins. It doesn't matter your successes because today it's a brand new day.
That's absolutely true. Matter of fact, I used to have a district manager who would say that on a conference call, if he had a good day, say, hey, look, guys, let's celebrate for a little bit. But if you don't do what you did yesterday, nothing matters.
Just get after it.
Nothing matters.
Yep.
Because we'll remember you for what you did today.
That's right.
Not yesterday.
Right.
And that holds so much truth in the real world. Like at my store. A store can have a great day yesterday, but it doesn't matter. If they suck today, then we're gonna talk about how bad they suck. And I mean, as humans, we forget to talk about yesterday. But it's the real world action. Talk about today and talk about tomorrow.
Yep.
If today and tomorrow is bad, nothing else matters. And sometimes people get stuck in the yesterday so much.
Oh man. Yeah.
So much. Like I had a gentleman who was applying for a job. He said, well, I used to make this much money. Well, what do you make today? Well, I make this much. Well, I'm giving you a raise for today and tomorrow to be a better future. No, I want to make what I made back then,
Right.
yesterday.
Oh, Uncle Rico.
Well, I'm sorry, sir. It just doesn't work like that. Things
Right.
have changed.
Right.
And he did not accept the job.
Right.
Right? But what I didn't understand, I mean, I couldn't fathom the thought. I couldn't fathom the train of thought. I'm like, well, you are not making the money where you at today. Where you are today, you're not happy.
Right.
You not making the money. And I'm offering you a better future. But I'm just not going to offer you what you made back then.
Yeah.
And people get stuck in that vacuum.
Yeah. And that's the thing about that is that he couldn't quite comprehend that it's better than where he's at right now.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not what you were back then, without a doubt. But I'm also, if you look at certain aspects of my life, I'm not what I was back then. Yeah. I'm worse off than I was.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. It's just how we are. We're either, like I said, we're either moving forward or going backward. And so just the sheer fact of advancing just a little bit, it's having that gratitude and that appreciation for the progression.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we're not moving forward, all we can think about is why am I not moving forward? But when we have the opportunity to move forward and we don't take advantage of it, we won't question why am I not moving forward?
I read a quote somewhere, if you're not moving forward, you're going backwards.
Yep.
And that's exactly what like sometimes some people, they just got to, and it's a mindset.
100%.
Everything goes back to what you say about the mindset. If you can't get your mind strong and you can't get out of yesterday, you'll never, get into tomorrow.
And here's the thing. I do want to mention this because it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
No.
Right? And unicorns farting rainbows. Like that's just not what it's about.
Yeah.
And the pure example that I'll use again was yesterday.
Yeah.
We could have chatted yesterday, right? We could have just plowed through it and got it done. People don't realize that there's going to be bad days.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be tough times. I'm not sitting here telling you that, it's all great and everything's fantastic and woo, we're all winning, because that's not true. But the question is when you're not winning, what are you doing to win the next one? Right? That's the question. It's not a, oh my God, this sucks so bad because I'm stuck right here. Because there are people that will listen to this that they're stuck. They are purely stuck right where they're at. and they just don't know how to move forward. And what they have to think about is there is always a forward. There's always a step you can take, not a leap. Don't get out there and start just sprinting across the floor, but just take a small step. Teeny tiny bite is how you eat an elephant. And that's what people don't understand. We're not sitting here telling you, oh, it's great, everything's fantastic because we're all awesome. It's not true. I get that. How do you get awesome? That's what I want you to ask yourself. Not, oh, these guys just don't understand, because we do. How do you get better? And only the people listening and you know the answer to that.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a quick question. Change the gears a little bit back again to your Ironman. How do you, mindset is a big thing. You have to train your mind that, hey, I'm going to be working out for 12, 15, 16 hours. I'm going to do this activity. What do you got to do for the body to get ready?
Well, it's a lot of preparation. So Ironman specifically is typically 24 months of a focused, or 24 weeks, which is 6 months of a focused effort towards that, depending on your experience.
How are you fueling your body? What are you doing? Are you on a strict regimen? Are you nutritioning well?
Everyone's body's different. Everybody kind of does different with different things, sugars, carbohydrates, things like that. The biggest thing from that perspective is to make sure you are fueling the body, right? And typically people will actually underfuel. They'll undervalue how much they're actually expending. And they will sometimes, females specifically, will underfuel because they have this weight loss stigma. I don't want to get fat type thing, right? I had an athlete one time years ago that I was coaching that she actually underfueled so much. She's deep in her training. She's 8 weeks out from her first Ironman, and she's gaining weight. Now weight should not be measurable by a scale, right? Especially for women. But as we gain muscle mass, you're into fitness. As you gain muscle mass, I'm the heaviest I've been in my life. You look at my BMI, I am overweight, right? According to BMI. So I don't put a lot of stock in those numbers. But she was gaining weight. She was getting bigger in certain places. And so we started looking at it, and she was actually consuming 1,200 calories a day. She was burning on average 25 to 4,000 calories a day, putting back 1,200. Well, what's the body going to do if you're not fueling it? It's going to take all that bad stuff and go, okay, you're not going to feed me again possibly, so I'm just going to store this right here on your hips and your belly, right? And so typically, there are ratios that you use in training when you're on a training ride or a training run that you'll want to consume X amount of calories per hour. That kind of helps. Obviously, eating cleaner is better. You don't want to be, as they call it, skinny fat. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's just about calories in, because you're burning a lot. I mean, in those hours of movement, it's costing a lot of energy.
So is caloric intake as important as the times you eat?
I mean, delivery of the calories is very important for sure. For sure. Calorie intake is, I would say they're probably equally important. And the cool part about it is that during this journey to anything, whether it's a 5K or an Ironman, you're going to learn a lot. And you're always going to be better the second time you do it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to fail multiple times the first time. I tell everybody in their first Ironman, we'll sit down and we'll talk about, their goal time is this, their goal time is that. And a lot of times people go, well, for my first Ironman or first event, I just want to finish. I don't accept that crap. Because that's not a motivator. When you wake up and you're tired because your kid was up at 1 a.m. not feeling well, and you got to get up at 4 a.m. to get your bike ride in before you go to work for an 8-hour, 10-hour day, that's not going to get you out of the bed. I just want to finish.
Yeah.
You got to have something that scares you. You got to have something that makes you go, oh man, I got to get up and get after it, right? And so what people don't realize is in terms of the caloric, the timing of it, there are certain things you can do to kind of trick your body a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's just about learning as the process goes. And that's where an experienced coach comes in. This isn't just a shameless plug for me or my company, but it's where an experienced coach comes in, because they're like a mentor to you. You've got a personal trainer. Why do you have that? Could you YouTube the videos and all the stuff you're doing? Absolutely. But there's that extra little knowledge and that extra little nugget and that extra little
push.
He's expecting me to be there on this day. And if I'm not there, my phone's going to blow up. With where are you at and why the hell are you not here right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the advantage of that. But it's a lot of self-experimentation, and that's the fun part about it.
That's the fun. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's someone holding you accountable.
Yeah.
For that, it is a push. Because I mean, I've been working out forever. I know what exercises.
You're kind of into fitness.
But I mean, that person holding you accountable.
Yeah.
Is very, very important.
Absolutely.
So tell me, going back and coming towards the end of the interview, how humble you got to be to do that kind of, an Ironman.
Yeah, man, you've got to be a baker of humble pies. You do. Because if you're not, it will humble you.
It will humble you.
And if you're humble, it will humble you. So no, you have to be, and it's so funny. The coolest thing about it is I challenge anyone that's listening to this, if you're interested, they're doing Ironman Texas up in the Woodlands in late April, pending everything works out. Go up there sometime after lunch, grab you some lunch in the Woodlands and check out the course, check out the run course. The beauty of it is that, you think of these athletes as being these like bodies of goddesses and gods and just these, it's not.
Yeah.
And you'll see people out there and you're like, so we have to write our age on our calf during these races. Somebody will run past you and you look down and you go, 74? I got passed by a guy one time on a bike. He was 66 years old. He passed me like I was sitting still. This was about 6 years ago. Yeah. He goes by me, I'm like, oh, good job. I'm like, golly, like that's grandpa, smoked my door. So the beauty of it is that with this, it's all sizes, all shapes. The first person to ever complete an Ironman having Down syndrome just happened in November.
Wow.
Think about the challenges that he had to go through.
Yeah.
Anybody can do anything, and that's the beauty of this, right? Not just Ironman. Ironman is overwhelming if you think about it. If I say, hey, we're going to go out and you and I are going to exercise for the next 16 hours, you're probably going, no, we're not.
No, we're not.
Let me tell you what's not happening, right? But it's anything is possible. And so, yes, you have to be humble, but anything you do in life, you must approach with humility.
And why is humility so important in life? It's a regular Joe.
Because you don't want to be a terrible human being. It's simple. No, if you don't appreciate, I think humility is a gross appreciation of yourself, but also a great appreciation of who you're not. It's a great appreciation of who you're not. And so when you appreciate that, you know what? I'm sitting here in front of you and I don't know anything about you other than social media. But I can tell you as soon as you walked in the door or as soon as I met you the other night, as soon as you called me, I could feel the vibe, right? And so my humbleness tells me to come in here open. You're not a threat, right? I'm going to learn from you. Guarantee I learn more from you in this interview than any of your listeners learn from me in this interview. Guarantee it. Because I come in here with open arms going, come at me, bro, right? And so if you have that, that's when you learn and grow. The people that excel and win at life, they're not always the most talented, the most smart people. I'm definitely not, right? And so, but if you approach situations like, I don't know anything about anything, what are we doing here? Let's learn. Let's collaborate. But that's where you got to have that sense, like I was talking about earlier, about who to put around you and that safety net. And so having humility allows you the most opportunity for growth. You see people that are winning at life and killing it, go look and see how humble they are. See how much humility they have. See how open they are. Not everybody. There are some people who are terrible people that are doing great. Good on them. They figured out a hack.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, for the average Joe that's listening to this, stay humble, right? I think it's Kendrick Lamar says something in one of his songs. It's like be humble and sit down. Basically, shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Right? I was taught early on. You can tell I love to talk. I was taught early on to close my mouth and open my ears.
Yeah.
Right. And the other saying that my mom told me is walk softly and carry a big stick. Right. Don't tell people what you can do. Show up and show them, and then walk off. Right. That's humility.
Smart mom.
Oh, she was brilliant. She did not murder me, so she's brilliant.
She's brilliant. So earlier you said about gratitude, something about gratitude. I can't remember the exact context you used it in. Do you think gratitude is important?
No, I'm just kidding. Absolutely. If you don't appreciate what you have, it will be taken away from you. Period. I mean, if you don't appreciate the gifts in terms of as a person, you have to accept what your gifts are. I just learned what my gift is in the past 2 or 3 years. And so once you accept that, once you have gratitude for the position that you've earned in life or that someone's helped you get to, once you appreciate and have gratitude for the fact that you have healthy children, right? I think this is the year that on New Year's Eve, when everybody looks back, there's going to be a lot more to be thankful for that they may not have realized had COVID not happened, right? When they look back, they're going to go, man, I do have a house. I didn't struggle to pay my bills, right? There's always, on the ladder of life, there's always somebody above you, and there's always somebody below you. No matter where you think you're at, there's always someone looking up going, man, I want to be up there. And so you need to have gratitude for your position, right? And with gratitude also comes humility. You have to have humility to actually step back and go, man, I'm so thankful. I'm extremely thankful to be here on this podcast with you. Like, this is awesome. And so for me, I know that if I enter into the situation with gratitude, I'm just going to reap the rewards. There's tons of just good stuff laying around that I'm going to actually be able to absorb and consume because I come into it with gratitude. I think the people that aren't gracious or that don't have gratitude, I think that they will find that things will become a little harder. People will figure it out after a while. You can only lie to people and yourself for so long before the people around you start going, okay, something's going on here.
Absolutely. I get it.
So,
we're getting towards the end of the show, but before that, I want to know if people want to find you, how can they find you?
So you can go to getmymindright.com, mental mastery, mental mastery on Instagram, YouTube channel, and then mental mastery on Facebook.
Okay, so Mental Mastery on Instagram or YouTube, Mental Mastery on Facebook,
That's it.
and getmymindright.com. That's where you are at. Again, what's the name of your business?
Mental Mastery is the name of the business.
Okay.
And then I have Mindright Endurance Coaching, which is my coaching business.
And where you coach at? What side of town in Houston?
We're out of Pearland. We're actually an international company.
Okay.
I've got athletes, or we have athletes all over the country. One of my coaches is actually an Olympic cycling coach.
Okay.
So we've got coaches all over the country.
All over the country.
11
Perfect.
different coaches.
We're coming towards the end of the show, and I ask all my guests for this. If there was, let's just say today is the end of the world. You lived 100 years, had a good long life.
Yep.
Now it's time for you to move on from this world and go to the next one, meet your creator. And everything, all your YouTube channel is gone, your Instagram is gone, you wrote some books, they're gone, your podcast is erased, this podcast is gone. And someone hands you a pen and a paper, and they say, Jeremy, write down 3 things that you would like to share with your future generations, the future world, and what you will be remembered for.
Yep.
What will those 3 things be?
I really hope that I'm not remembered for anything. That's one thing I want to start with that. Simply because I want to make sure that the gifts that I leave behind, whatever it is, whatever impacts I make, I don't want them to be directed back at me. I don't want credit for that, right? I want to know that in one conversation with one person, they went and changed the life of 5 people. Those 5 people changed the life of 5 more people. Then all of a sudden, I am directly impacting 25 lives without knowing it, right? It's like the rock you throw in here, we don't see the wave on the other end. You know how that game goes. So the very first thing for me, the piece of advice I would leave behind is shut your mouth and open your ears.
Shut your mouth, open your ears.
Shut your mouth, open your ears. Because I think that oftentimes, myself included, as I continue to ramble here, is we don't always hear and consume and absorb the lessons, right, from people. The second one would be very simple, the golden rule: do unto others. I wish people live by that still. Just the fact of as simple as holding a door open for somebody, as simple as allowing someone into traffic, as God knows Houston traffic, right? You either get in or you don't get in, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the first 2. And the third one, for me is just be kind. And that might go with the second one, but I think that if 80% of the people lived off that principle of treating others the way they wanted to be treated, I don't think we'd have to talk about mental health like we are. I don't think we'd have to talk about vulnerability in males. I don't think we'd have to talk about that, because I can sit here with you and have a conversation openly and it feels good. This is good for me. I'm growing. I'm able to express myself. I'm able to get your energy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave here with a newfound energy and excitement. And so I think that if people just shut up, sit down, and just absorb.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know if that was more than 3 or not.
No, that was 3.
I didn't graduate high school, so I struggle with counting.
Hey, listen, Jeremy, I want to thank you for taking the time. I want you, time is such a precious commodity. Most of us don't appreciate and understand the value of time.
It's all we have. It's the only currency.
Yeah, exactly. And, dollars, you can buy something with me for dollars, but time is such a precious commodity you can't buy. And I want to thank you for donating your time to me, to my audience, and to the world. And
where can I write off this time donation? You got a form for that?
Man, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing this with me. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Now let's go out there and make shit happen.
Let's go make it happen.